Welcome back to ChemCon TV. It's Tasty Thursday and we're serving up a fresh bite from yesterday's social event. Our delegates got a real taste of Mandai, exploring nature up close and in full color. So let's dig in. During ChemCon Asia's 2026 social event, delegates were immersed in the river wonders of Mandai Wildlife Reserve, before reconnecting at the Amazon flooded forest. Dinner in the Forest Lodge brought the wild up close. A Malayan fishing owl, a ball python, unforgettable encounters. And as dusk settled in, the night safari awakened. One shared journey, one wild experience. The wonderful world of Mandai. Also on today's menu, breaking news revealing the location of ChemCon the Americas 2027. An interview on regulatory developments in Southeast Asia. A statement on Singapore's chemical reporting framework, more Mandai magic and city and nature stories. But first, let's sample a few sound bites from yesterday.
So what stood out to me in today's China session is we are looking at much more integrated regulation in China. So it's cut across to the value chain from hazardous chemical management, from digital traceability, and even to a stronger governance. So regulation no longer static. It's actually involved continuous data connection, stronger governance. Now the key thing here is for company, in order for the company to strive, it needs to look into all those aspects as integrated areas and no longer stand alone.
As mentioned today, we have a tasty theme. So we visited Mandai's Taste Masters, unique animals with an exceptional sense of smell. They can even taste the air. Isai, can you tell us about the exceptional sense of smell of the largest lizards on Earth?
So over here we have Mario, one of our Komodo dragons. So what they can do is taste the air. So they have a forked tongue. So what happens is when they stick on the forked tongue, all the air particles get trapped on it somewhat. And then they retract it back into an organ called the Jacobson's organ. So it helps them register and map out where the different scents are coming from. So some cool thing about a forked tongue is it tells them left from right. So let's say if the scent is strong on the left side, they go to the left, strong on the right side, they go on the right.
Wow.
Then once they dial in, you see their forked tongues go into a singular tongue.
Wow, nice. It's kind of a walking laboratory.
Yeah, it is. So when it comes to detection, this is nature's finest.
Okay.
So with that, here's a Komodo dragon plushie for you.
Thanks. And the best part is, this one doesn't need feeding. Speaking of food, I've asked Wade to take us to one of Singapore's finest food courts.
Sizzling satay, smoky grills and spices in the air. So it's sweet, savoury and slightly dangerous if you're hungry. If a Komodo dragon is dropped here, its senses would short circuit. So welcome to Lau Pa Sat. It is the beating heart of Singapore's culinary soul.
Let's start with a legend. Hill Street Thai Hua Pork Noodles, Singapore's sole remaining Michelin star hawker. A simple bowl? Not at all. It's 90 years of family dedication. Vinegar-laced minced pork noodles, perfectly balanced and utterly addictive.
And then there's the heavyweight champion, our Hainanese chicken rice. Many of us consider this our national dish. It looks simple, but it's precision cooking perfected. So the rice is cooked in chicken soup and then simmered in garlic and pandan. The chicken is poached and then we shock it in ice water, creating this perfect gelatinous skin. And for us, this is comfort food perfected.
For breakfast, we have kaya toast, a coconut egg jam, born when Hainanese cooks tried to recreate British marmalade, but with local ingredients. It's a culinary bridge between two worlds. And then laksa, a rich, fiery coconut curry packed with shrimps, herbs and seafood. The local laksa makes every bite perfectly balanced.
So by night, it's time for my favorite, barbecue stingray. So it's cooked in banana strips and then slathered with this smoky sambal that is fragrant and fiery. And when you tear into it, it bakes into nice, delicious strips. But before you eat, remember there's a golden rule in this jungle. The tissue paper. So this 10 cent pack of tissue, if you leave it here, is an unspoken rule that this is reserved, so do not sit down. This 10 cent pack of tissue has more authority than any reservation app in the entire world.
Mouth-watering. Now, to get a sense of direction in regulatory developments across Southeast Asia, I spoke with Anas Daniel and Fabienne Henry. Gentlemen, what are the key drivers behind the tightening of chemical regulations across Southeast Asia?
I think what we see is more or less the same as it used to be. There's still this need to address human health, environmental protection, strong pressure on sustainability. And what I would say and highlight is the emergence of new drivers that act a bit as catalysts. You have, on one hand, the global frameworks on chemicals, with very ambitious targets and the means to support its implementation. Industry had strong commitments towards achieving some of these targets. And you also have something quite new in the recent years, which is OECD membership. And we see a couple of ASEAN member states with really keen interest in becoming OECD members.
Okay. Anas?
Yeah. In addition to that, I would add a bit more that apart from the trends, not really trends, I mean the setup of the UN Global Framework of Chemicals, we do see how globally trends and issues that are affecting the perception of people about chemicals, such as PFAS, do shape the attention of our authorities in figuring out what will be their next steps in managing the chemical regulations within the respective borders. And this is also one of the things that we are seeing as driving these readjustments of the regulations that we are seeing within Southeast Asia.
The full interview can be watched on our YouTube channel. Also on YouTube, many videos of this nocturnal animal that I met at Mandai's Night Safari.
Hi Kin, I heard you might be able to help me find a rare resident of the rainforest.
Yeah, I can help you find the critically endangered Sunda pangolin over here.
Wow. Hey, your colleague told me about Komodo dragons and their tongue. I guess the tongue is also a useful tool for pangolins?
Yeah, so pangolin, they have no teeth, so they use their long sticky tongue to look for food for ants and termites. So in the wild, they can eat up to 70 million ants and termites a year.
Okay. Hey, and they're also known for a special defense mechanism.
Yeah, so they have a soft belly and they have a scaly back. So when they feel threatened, they will roll into a ball to protect the soft insides. They also sleep like that also. Speaking of which, I have a gift for you. This is a pangolin with a soft belly and a soft back also for you.
Thank you very much. Pangolins are also known for their impressive digging skills. Skills that might have come in handy when digging Singapore's MRT system. Talking about getting around, let's go to A.
So here's a fun story, Jed. A while ago, a curious pangolin actually wandered into the MRT station. City in nature at its finest. So this is how Singapore moves around today, using our MRT system. It's cheap, fast and efficient. But to own a car in Singapore today, now that's a luxury. To even put a car on the road, you need to buy a certificate of entitlement, or we call it COE. And today, the COE can cost upwards of $100,000, which means that a typical Toyota sedan can cost upwards of $140,000 here in Singapore.
I guess parking in Singapore can also be challenging.
But why deal with parking? In Singapore, the MRT is so fast and efficient that for us, we just use the MRT system. The money that we collect from the certificate of entitlement is reinvested in the public transport system. And this is used by more than 90% of the population today. So for us to get from one end of the city to another, typically takes us less than 1 hour and it costs us less than $2. So for those who drive, space is still scarce. So we go vertical. I'm at Autovan Motors, which is essentially a 15-story glass tower of a luxury car vending machine.
Pick your car on a screen, and within 2 minutes, a $1 million Ferrari is delivered to you by a robotic lift.
But you don't need $1 million to play with our vending machine. Here on Orchard Road, retail becomes an experience. Fresh orange juice, we have machines that will freshly cut and squeeze the orange juice for you. Need a last minute gift? Grab a flower bouquet from a vending machine. And a souvenir, try a custom 3D printed phone case. And for the adventurous, even chilled Maoshan Wang durians, ready to go.
This bustling retail street was once a muddy track, lined with orchards and spice gardens. Durians, rambutans, cocoa, and nutmeg. Fragments of that past still linger today.
Singapore moves fast, but we never forget where we come from. That's why we have this nutmeg over here in the middle of Orchard Road. It's a quiet reminder of the story.
As always, everything in Singapore is nicely organized. And if it's not regulated yet, they create something new, like Singapore's Chemical Reporting Framework. Something I will discuss with Mei Kwan Ho of Chevron. Welcome, Mei Kwan.
Thank you, Jed, for having me here in ChemCon Asia, Singapore.
Framework targets chemicals not yet regulated but potentially risky. Is correct?
Basically, Singapore do not yet have an inventory notification system, so the National Environment Agency of Singapore is doing its best to collect certain data from the industry so that substances of concern are appropriately regulated.
And your statement is?
In due time, every ASEAN country should have a risk-based, fit-for-purpose chemical management framework.
Mei Kwan, thank you for your statement. And now it's time for the breaking news on the location of Chemco the Americas 2027.
ChemCon family, the wait is over. We are crossing borders back to Canada, and we return to Montreal.
We already know the forecast for March. Now let's look at today. We start in Southeast Asia with an all-star authority speaker lineup, with authorities from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia and the Philippines. Furthermore, industry experts covering developments in Vietnam and Thailand. Next, a compare and contrast of new chemical notification systems across Asia Pacific. Then, hazard approaches and risk assessment, including the EU's One Substance, One Assessment. And a grand finale, a deep dive into PFAS restrictions and their impact. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.